Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6, consists of Nur Afifah, Muhammad Rizki Rimba Alas, Muhammad Nelviandi Mubarrok, and myself, Muhammad Ichsan Fadillah. And today, we are going to present our lesson plan to fulfill the assignment of ICT of ELT. This presentation will be last in 5 until 10 minutes. For the next slide. For the topic of description, following is a lesson plan designed for A1 level or junior high school student in 8th grade. Their native language is Indonesian. The main theme of the lesson is to describe themselves and others. The goal, students will be able to describe themselves while introducing themselves to other people. For the next part, we'll explain by Muhammad Rizki Rimba Alas.
Okay, thank you, Isan. The next topic is the objective. Students is expected to get the two objectives, which is the first is terminal objective and the second is enabling objective. For the terminal objective, students will improve relevant vocabulary and grammar rules that describe themselves in self-introduction. And then the second terminal objective is students will identify and receive information about another person through their writing. And for the enabling objective, student will remember a simple format of self-introduction. And then students will understand necessary vocabulary to describe themselves. For the third is students will understand social function and language features of self-introductions. And the fourth, students will apply their prior knowledge to make a draft introducing their peers. And for the last is student will create a blog post introduction and describing their peers. Next slide, please. Okay, for the material and equipment required in this lesson plans, there is 4 materials and equipment. The first is screen projector, which is for the teacher give our showing the example or the material to the students. Next, and of course, internet access because we use the ICT or we use technology in our lesson plan, and then smartphone access for its students, and then the text examples of self description and describing others. Next slide, please. Okay, now for the procedures. The first is pre-reading, which is teacher sets the screen projector to share the screen in front of the class. Then teacher will start by displaying an example of 2 Instagram posts. One would have a caption about self-description, the other is about someone describing their friends. For the next procedure will be explained by my partner Nur Afifah.
All right, thank you, Alas. So the next procedure is text reading. Here are the materials that the students will read. The first Instagram post is student's self-description, and the second post is about the student describing their friend. And the third procedure is a whole class discussion. So here are the guides that the teacher will give the students. So the first one is comparison between the two texts. In the first text, it is focused more on Marlia, and the second text focuses more on Karina, Marcel's friend. And then the social function of each text. The first text is about self-description, which focuses on describing oneself, and the second text is about introducing a friend and describing them. And the language features of each text, the use of pronouns, general structure, including opening, content, and closing, and the use of appropriate tenses, mostly use simple present tense. And the last is important vocabulary and its contextual meaning. So the useful verbs, adjectives, and nouns to describe oneself and friends from the text. The fourth procedure will be pre-writing activity. So the teacher will give students a list of questions that the student will interview their peers to obtain more information about them. So there are questions about how many people are in your family? Are you the only child? How many siblings do you have? What do you like? What do you dislike? And what is your hobby? In this activity, students will engage in some different activities, such as searching for information through peer interview, categorizing or classifying data they obtain from peer interview, and summarizing, which could involve journaling in their book. The draft will later be submitted to the teacher as well. The next procedure will be presented by my friend Nelviandi.
Okay, thank you, Nur Afifah. The next part is writing activity. In this activity, we're planning on creating two parts. The first part is that the students write a self-description text, and the second part is writing a text description about their peers. And in order to understanding on how we're going to create this writing activity, there is a guide that we'll create here. We're making it into a 6-part. The first one is that the student is writing the text using the draft that they made in pre-writing activity. The second one is that the students do peer reviewing and evaluating if there are any wrong information, wrong sentences, or a wrong language, or wrong structure, and so on. Now, once they are done, the teacher, allows students to use their smartphone for temporarily to access the Instagram. And after that, we will ask the students to use the caption on the text that are already been peer-reviewed to their Instagram post. The students will upload 2 Instagram posts. The first one is for their self-description, and the second one is to describe their peer. After that, they're submitting their writing tasks, and they need to tag the teacher's Instagram account in each of their posts so that the teacher able to see and evaluate from that post. Next slide, please. Okay. The next slide is about post-writing activity and the extra classwork assignment. In the post-writing activity, we're going to discuss about the text with the whole class using prompting or prompting questions such as what is text about, what is the general structure of the text, and what kind of information do you get from the text, just to ensure that the students are remembering what have we learned. And for the extra classwork assignment, the extra assignment that we're going to assign for the students are taking a picture of their favorite place and their favorite person, and making 2 Instagram posts. One to describe about their favorite place, and the other one is to describe about their favorite person. Just like on the activity, they need to tag the teacher's Instagram account to ensure that the teacher able to evaluate from their post. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, I think that's all from our group. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.